Raiders! Welcome to another video on the Pulse Glazer channel. I am Pulse Glazer, also known as Snap Judgments, and today we're going to do something a little different. I'm building certain champions to build specific roles, and I want to go over what those kinds of roles are and why you should care about them. I'm also going to show you, just to start the video, where I am for certain champions. We are almost at Nolda. We are at 75 fragments right now. I came in second in one of the events that gave bonus shards, which is really nice because I'm not going to have to do that whole hero's path now. Really great. We're almost at Yannicka. Yannicka's fine, whatever. I don't really care about Yannicka, but it's not terrible to get Yannicka. We're at 40 Quintus. That's live arena, right? Quintus is live arena. So it's going to be forever. Live arena is real slow. Another 60 days, which seems a long time, but 2 more months, and we will have Drexthar, who we get from the Bazaar. That is the tag arena. I'm able to buy a Drexthar fragment every day, so 2 more months, and Drexthar is ours. Embrace is a little slower. I'm getting like 5 Embrace a week, which actually means it's about the same, right? It's a little slower than Drexler, but we're getting 5-ish Embrace a week. This is the one we get from Chimera. Chimera ends tomorrow, so it's looking like by tomorrow we should be at about 40 Embrace. Embrace I want, obviously, is my most wanted of my fragment summons. You can tell why. It's the red border, friends. It's the red border. And then finally, Mithrala, who we get from Hydra. Hydra just ended today. Mithrala is one of the most important champions to get in the game. She opens up an absolute crap ton of different content. Because she's cracked, and we're getting like 6 a week, 7 a week from her by doing our Hydra. I actually just want to take a quick look at Mithrala's kit and show you why we want her. So she's a poisoner, which is whatever, right? She places a hex debuff for 2 turns and a 6% increased defense and increase attack on all allies for 2 turns. That's insane for Hydra. Hexers are absolutely wildly good for Hydra. One of the Hydra heads can't be targeted. It's going to redirect any hits that get targeted at it. Hex is one of the only ways to damage that head. Why is that important? Well, outside of group attacks, you're going to really need to hit that head because it's going to eat your stuff. And if it eats your stuff, that's going to ruin your run. And getting this 3-turn Hex for 2 turns is going to be great against Hydra. We also have remove all debuffs from all allies and a 25% strengthen and shield equal to 30% of max HP. You'll love to see it, although this is a defense-based champion, so that max HP is a little annoying there. And then the big one, when a champion is attacked by an enemy under Hex, 50% chance of petrification for 1 turn, which is basically going to waste a turn. Really good. You're going to see this champion a lot in Arena for that. When attacked, when attacked by an enemy under Hex, has a 30% chance of applying petrification on the attacker for 1 turn. Okay, wait, what? Whenever an ally is attacked. Okay, okay. And then when the champion increases the champion's resistance, the amount by which it increased equal to the amount of accuracy the champion has. And that's ridiculously important. That resistance buff is the other secret use to her. Because against stuff like Iron Golem, against various stuff like the whatchamacall, like the I'm gonna lose their names, the Sand Devil and stuff. Being able to increase your resistance against Bommel, against Doom Tower bosses, against oh my god, I'm gonna lose the name of the one, but like we also have the shield for not Bommel, but I'll go check the name in a minute. But we have the shield for that one. That's gonna resist all of those debuffs that would otherwise give us trouble. And we don't really care about the accuracy, except that accuracy is also resistance. Like that's wildly good. So she's going to be an account changer for me, and that is the kind of thing I want to talk about today. As I'm going to check my Ooh, we finished a clan boss. We've got a Hydra rotation that's ready to start. I'll show you why I'm not doing Hydra now. It's going to be part of the video, I promise. But the boss I'm thinking of is... Shoot, I'm farming the crap out of her. The boss I'm thinking of is... What is your name, homeboy? Borgoth. Borgoth, the crab dude. So Borgoth, we need that extra resistance for too. So being able to have these resistance buffs, being able to have these extra, is going to be account changing, and that's the kind of thing we're looking at. These little secret account changing heroes that do incredibly powerful things. So this is going to be who I'm looking at for that. Um, the first one we're going to look at, you'll note I have no gear. I'm building Basim. I'm building Basim for 2 reasons. I'm building Basim for whenever a event dungeon pops up and for arena. So you're going to see a very arena centric set on him. We're running Stone Skin along with Slayer. We've got 5-piece Slayer, which is going to give us crit rate, speed, crit damage, and a bit of turn meter fill. Whenever an enemy AoEs. Is it the best? No, but I needed that. I want extra crit damage here. We're only at 100 crit damage. I need to do more for crit and crit damage, although the gauntlets being buffed will do that, and then we'll mix and match. But the real reason we're here The real reason we're here is so it's not this. This is nice, right? We're gonna deal 5% more damage for each buff and debuff on champion, and we're gonna put a perfect veil on this champion for 3 turns with an extra turn. That's great. We got an attack. It's attacking one enemy 2 times. Whatever. What we're really doing here is we're gonna get a giant 30% ignore defense because we're gonna use this and then that, right? A giant 30% ignore defense, but then we're gonna block active skills that's going to ignore block debuffs. So that's ridiculous in arena. If we can get this champion fast enough, and we should be able to, right? Um, we're going to just block all of the active skills on opponents. That can't be resisted. We just have to get the accuracy and everything else high enough, except the accuracy doesn't matter as much because we'll have perfect veil because this is on him. So when you combine that with the like whenever he's attacked, um he's going to give and take a debuff. Also, when under a Valor Perfect Veil, we're getting a 25% resistance. So all this stuff works crazy, crazy well together. Block active skills is one of the most underrated abilities in the game. I need to build an Ethlin. If you don't have Basim, if you didn't get Basim, the champion you're going to want to build is this one. No, not Ethlin. What's this stupid one's name? We're gonna go find it. I have the champion. I just never remember the name. What we're going to build right now is I just hit champions again. I need to hit index, and it is a high elf, I believe, and it's an epic. It is. We're gonna talk about Scramus in 2 minutes. It's not. It's Ethlin. It is Ethlin. Okay. Ethlin the Golden has a turn one that's going to give a shield and a heal, but the T2 on a 4 turn is going to give a block active skills, and True Fear if enemies are not under block active skills. That's really great along with the crit damage, along with the, like ignore defense when attacking certain types of champions except for bosses. And then the shield, everything else. Ethlin's also great if you don't have access, but this is a skill you want because if you look over an arena just saying like my enemies can't use anything but their A1 is wildly good. But the other place, again, is going to be this event dungeon. I'm only at like 23 of event dungeon, but if none of these friends can use their active skills, I'm gonna win some games, friends. Their A1s are not that dangerous. I'm just gonna win some games. I'm gonna be able to take it out. I'm gonna pull you out, and then I'm gonna put in once I up the gear. I'm gonna put in our friend Basim, with his one little awakening, and we're good to go. So that is thing one. That is the first champion we're going to talk about. There's one champion we're going to talk about a little bit more later on. The one from the thumbnail, friends. The one from the thumbnail. All right. So that is thing one. Cassandra's underrated. I'm just going to put it out there for anyone who's worried, who's not aware how completely cracked Cassandra is. Cassandra's really, really, really good. The next champion I want to look at right now, and it's like one you're gonna know about. I just have to find him. Like people talk about him, but people don't talk enough about Fenax. And again, I'm waiting for the gear enhancement event that's coming this Sunday. This Sunday has a gear enhancement for the last little bit of shards for Nuldwa. So this is going to be utterly insane and like really, really simple. He does great damage, but what we want is this and I have to find books. I don't have books for him yet. Attack one enemy, place an extra hit if target has any debuffs. Enemies killed by this cannot be revived. That's it. We're going to use him because my weakest area is. This is also going to place a block active skills, which is nice, right? We just talked about block active skills. And oh, if it does not place a block debuffs, you get a block active skills. Otherwise, you just get block buffs. I'd rather have a block active skills, but whatever. And then a 60% decreased defense, so we're going to do more damage, and 30% decreased speed. We're going to attack more. So, and then we stuck Nature's Wrath on it. Every debuff successfully placed, we're going to get some extra bonus damage. But what this is useful for is going to be fairly obvious. If you played any Raid Shadow Legends, right, you should know exactly where to use this. This is an Ice Golem killer. The Ice Golem, I can't beat normal one right now, and I need to because that's what my holdup is. That's what my holdup is on my missions for my horsey man for Marius, the best champion in the game. But attacks all enemies, turn meter, removes all debuffs. So we can't just debuff him to death. Unfortunately, what the A2 happens. Attacks one enemy. Whenever tank class drops below 60, 80, 25, 30. This we get an attack all enemies, and it's going to attack revive all dead allies to 100% HP, and it's going to work 50% enemy defense for each alive ally. So if both allies are alive when this happens, it's ignoring 100% of defense, and you're dead. You're just dead if you have no defense. It's also a 20% chance of freeze. And the chance of freeze is 40%, which means it's 100% if the allies are alive. Well, we have exactly two ways on our team of making allies stay dead. That is going to be the aforementioned Fennex and another champion that I can't use for this because he is the squishiest human being alive. Excuse me, the squishiest turtle being alive. Wrath on his A1 has places a block revive if the target is killed. I think we have one other somewhere. I don't remember who it is, but whatever. It was someone else that didn't work particularly well. But Fennex will do that job for us of blocking revive. Um, Other champions we're building for particular reasons, other things we need. We've built for this reason, we've built Seeker, who has taken my Hydra clan boss to through the roof. I'm doing like 70 million on the first Hydra clan boss, largely because there's a provoke on the A1 here. Right, that's it. We buffed the crap out of this. We used all 8 books to buff the A1 on Seeker because we want the provoke. It's 25% chance. Nope. 35. Nope. 40. Sorry, 30, 35, right? No, 30, 40, 50. 50% chance on 2 hits means we're usually placing to provoke, and we can beat the Hydra head that we need to provoke that way. However, I need more provokers, right? And this is actually where the meat of what we're looking at is, because we need to get better at Hydra. Beating Hydra is wildly important for us, and so we're building a Scrammus. Scrammus is unbelievably good and unbelievably slept on. One of the best epics in the game because new player friends, you are not going to have that many provokers for Hydra. And we need certain skills and certain tools to bring into Hydra. Scrammus is one of those tools. So the A1, whatever, right? Attacks one enemy, 80% chance of stealing turn meter. Great, right? Places stun, debuff if the turn is fully depleted by the skill. Again, really, really nice thing. We can attack someone with like no turn meter and just say, I don't have to worry about them for a turn. Nice into waves, not amazing. Next up, attack all enemies, decrease duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. 6% chance of 50% decrease attack. No, no, no. Let's go 50, 60, 75% chance of decrease attack. Decrease attack is huge into all the clan bosses. It's one of the best ways to survive. They do so much less damage when they have a decrease attack. And then we get 10% turn meter by each buff that's added duration of priest, whatever. HP based damage is always nice. But here's the big one. 100% chance provoke on all enemies, and it's only going to work on the one head that we need to for 1 turn, and that's on a 3 turn cooldown. Uh, Places a counterattack and heal for 2 turns. So survivability, provoke, counterattack. We built him with again, we have to do the equipment properly, but we have some lovely righteous gear. We also need to land the damn debuff, so we have some perception gear. And then we're just gonna buff that resistance. We're gonna buff that resistance to high heaven as much as we can. We need some extra resistance gear here. I have that speed. There are resistance here. La la la. We're gonna actually go through. Oh wait, there's a. Huh, I just realized why I have the 3 of those. Because over here we have boop. No, not total stats. Shoot. Tooltip. 20 plus 20 resistance. We'll probably get more than 20. Well, we'll definitely get more than 20 resistance out of this, right? I'm gonna give away that give up that 20 resistance. We have the 20 resistance for 1, and then we're gonna actually do that because getting that resistance high will be worth it. And then we're just gonna like resist stuff. He's gonna be all what we call a mischief tank, which is really, really great into that Hydra nonsense. So just a phenomenal champion. There's another though. There's a legendary I built that I'm using in all sorts of stuff. And this legendary is just gonna get better and better. He's the thumbnail legendary. No one talks about him. He's an old whatchamacallit, old fusion. But Strategos Islin is an absolute beast. I need to get more defense on him, right? And we'll talk about why I need to get more defense on him. I need some blessings. I've got to pull but I need to get more defense. We stuck a defense relic here, and our defense is only 6,200, which is like a little annoying. 6,500, which is a little annoying, right? We need to get to 7,000 because he has this passive. Whenever this champion is attacked, heal themselves by 1% for each 500 defense this champion has. So we've got we're healing by 6.5% every time he's hit, which is wild. Right? Is that right? I don't know. Actually, it's more than that. We're healing by a whole ton whenever we're hit. Heals allies under protection, mostly so the champion after the initial heal. We don't always want to use the protection against things that hit hard, but he is a nightmare when you get his HP high enough. He just tanks hits like you wouldn't believe, and secretly, He's amazing into Hydra. And this is what I want to tell you about because he comes with that extra 50% provoke on 2 hits. That's the same thing as, and we have to turn off his A3, right? We have, well, actually, I guess we don't have to, but I often end up turning off his A3 because I want that A1 to happen as much as possible. This is insanely good into Hydra. It's the same amount of good into Hydra as our friend Seeker. So we have that, and we have more survivability. This is turn boost. This is survivability. Both are great, right? Because this A2 is going to give us the increased attack and the turn meter. I'd rather be alive forever and give that because in addition to being alive, we're going to get more turns because we have attack everyone on a 3-turn and decrease speed, a little bit of protection with a 60% increased defense on all allies, and a counterattack on this champion for 2 turns, and a shield on this champion for 2 turns proportional to defense. This is so survivable and so nasty. I need the blessing. Not going to say I don't. I want that blessing to get that extra defense, right? I want an extra 500 defense on this champion pretty badly. But the way all of this stuff works together is this is secretly one of my favorite Hydra champions in the game. I now have 3 Hydra provokers, right? I have Stratego Sislin, I have Seeker, and I have our friend who I'm still building, and I have our friend Scrimus, wherever the heck he is. And I have our friend Scrimus. And now I have 3 Hydra Provokers. And guess what the number of Hydra Provokers I need is? 3, because that's how many times we get to fight Hydra. What else do we really need? Well, we need decrease attack, right? We established that Scrimus is also going to bring our decrease attack. We want decrease attack and decrease speed. So Scrimus is going to do a lot of that work for us, right? We have that decrease attack and decrease attack here. Um, we have a little bit of extra attack here, so that's not going to do multiple uses, but it's fine. And then we also have, wherever he is, Strategos Islin, who's going to bring us a decreased speed and an increased defense and a shield and a heal. So like when you combine all of this, we end up with a nasty trio of champions that are built specifically for this. The next thing I'm really going to need to work on is block debuff champions. My best block debuff champion right now is block buff champion, and sorry, block buff is what I'm looking for, not block debuff. Block buff champion is simply Ugo. Attacks all enemies, 70% chance of placing a block buffs for 2 turns. Block buffs is this, right? So what we're going to do, we're just going to take a quick look, and we're going to so include master vault, include reserve vault, and we're just going to look for keyword. Um, this is a debuff, and we said it is that little. We have to find it. No, all right, it's this one, right? Yeah, there we go. Block buffs. So what has block buffs that we care about? Rush card does not, because that's a 1 person, right? However, someone to build. We have a decreased defense. That's nice. Block buffs on each enemy for 2 turns. What? We can get that to a 3 turn, and we have an extra block buffs champion and a nice casual increased defense and block damage. Where else can we block buffs? The other one on my main team. Again, my main team has Lady Kimmy. My secondary team has Ugo. My main team has Lovely. If we remove a buff, we get a block debuff for 2 turns. An enemy who have buffs removed. Unfortunately, we have to wait for the enemy to have a buff, so it's a little annoying, but fine. We continue on. This is where we're running into trouble, right? We need a third reliable one. I'm gonna have to build that Grachos. He's like 80% build. I just don't have the Lego books for him. Um, I hate putting books into this. But we have a nice block buffs here. That could work, right? All enemies, block buffs. Love to see it. And then we don't have anything else built. We have Packmaster that has a remove debuff and then shield, but we don't have the like second team here. And then block buffs. I don't know. Maybe I just build Packmaster. I don't know. Packmaster has fewer books for me to worry about, but I'd have to build him from scratch. Ugir, the Worm Eater. Again, like I have plenty of options, but none of them are built. So Ilsania's, I'm not building any of these. These are like crap epics outside of obviously. Um, Astrox is actually really good. Astrox is eventually going to be built because I want that accuracy buff. And then we've got block buffs for 2 or 3 turns. It'll be 3 turns against Hydra. So I think Fenax is going to be my third. I'm going to use Ugo. I'm going to use Lady Kimmy, and then I'm going to use Fenax, and I have block buffs covered. We need speed leads, right? So can we search speed leads? Is that a thing we can do? Aura speed. So we have speed leads, right? We need speed lead for each one. This one it doesn't count. Lady Kimmy is unfortunately just in dungeons, but the assassins. Oh crap! Why am I building these assassins? This makes sense all of a sudden, right? So we have an assassin. We have an Ezio Autore, who's fine, not great into Hydra. But Cassandra is shockingly good. Removes all debuffs, heals by 50% of max HP and turn meter by 50%. We again need Lego books. It is our big choke point, but we have this tool for Hydra. Um, the shatter buff is nice, the increased speed is nice, and then the damage is great because this is HP burn. We're gonna need someone else to put Veil, but we have Glicade. We haven't got there yet, right? We have other options, and this debuff cannot be resisted champions under Veil or Perfect Veil. Love it, love it, love it. And then we of course have attacks all one enemy between 3 and 6 times. Love to see it here. We'll eventually use her. We're not yet. Our best lead, the other ridiculously slept on champion, place a 50% increase attack on all allies for 2 turns. Like it. How about a perfect veil on all allies except this champion for 2 turns? And a 15% turn meter fill. So we've got a 19% speed lead, and then we've got that giant buff. And also, anyone under perfect veil is just gonna do that place of the champion, just gonna do 10% more damage, just casually, an extra 10% damage. Then revive all allies with 40% HP. We get increased accuracy and defense, and if we didn't revive, used it for not revive, use it to open our battle, we get an extra turn. Nasty, right? Absolutely nasty. Not really useful. Not really useful. These are arena leads or other leads. Also really solid if you have Deacon Armstrong. Decreased defense that stays up every turn. Fill your turn meter by 15% every turn. Leads for a bit of extra survivability. The last champion that I need to build really, really well for this, and who's not built really well, 18% weirdly, is the Hexer, because Hex is amazingly important. I need to build a champion with Hex gear. I haven't decided who yet, but I'm going to have to build someone with Hex gear to get rid of that Hydra head that I can only get rid of this way. My Akemtum is made of glass and immediately dies no matter what I do with him, so I'm going to have to completely rebuild Akemtum at some point. Haven't had the energy to do that, but I will at some point. Or honestly, I haven't had the gold and time to do that. But eventually, Akemtum is going to be a speed lead for my teams, which means we have Grachos, we have Akemtum, and probably going to end up using Deacon. The third team is still under construction if you're missing it. Probably going to be Deacon. But we also have like a Kemptum who's going to give me some extra poisons and hex and debuff spread. You love to see it. We have a 24% speed in all battles. We will eventually build Mother Cybele, who can be our third once she's built. We have a 12%, leave me alone, Ashwalker. Shayak is 19% in all battles. Shayak might be too good for Hydra to not build, even without his friends, right? The double debuffs mean that Shayak is eventually going to get built. That's Arena. That's Arena. But 24% in all battles is the best I have on the account, right? What does she do? She's got a 25% decreased speed. You know we love that. And a turn meter fill. We've got a revive on death and a 60% increased defense buff on all allies. Oh, survivability on a 3 turn. I'll take that. Which means 2 out of every 3 turns, we've got a revive on death. Great. How about we swap HP with an ally and then get increased speed and block damage? Sounds good. And then fully heals the ally with the lowest HP whenever this champion is killed. Heals all allies 20% of their max HP and fills turn meters whenever this champion is revived. So she got the revive on death, and whenever she does that, she's gonna revive people. Use her with another reviver, and we're really cooking. And that's what's gonna bring us all the way back around to where we started the video, because Noldwa seems absolutely perfect for this. We're going to take a quick look at why Noldwa is the final piece to these teams. Because outside of that, it's just damage dealers. We'll talk about damage dealers, but like damage is damage, right? Noldwa is going to do the weak and enfeeble. We don't really care. We don't have Solinar, unfortunately. I would kill for Solinar. But how about a 60% decrease? 75% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies. Not bad, right? 75% chance of 6% decreased defense on all enemies. Really nice. Let's increase that damage. But here, revive all dead allies with 50% and 100, 50% and 50% HP and turn meter, and we get a big old shield on them related to max HP. Finally, all turn meter fill effects are 30% less effective. I guess that's kind of not really useful for us here. And then like I need Solinar for a lot of this stuff. In my head, I'm getting Solinar. So, but like what we have is this extra reviver, this extra remove debuffer that makes perfect sense as the final piece to a lot of these teams. We will end this video quickly by just showing you. Damage dealers are simple for us. We go with a couple turtles. Leo is just insanely good damage. One of the best damage dealers on my team. particularly with this. One turtle ally means we're ignoring 50% defense. We can ignore 30% if we want to run Wrath, but Wrath dies in 10 seconds. So, Um, increases damage in portion to Tamp's max HP if we have Wrath 2, but again, he just dies if too fast for that. However, Mikey comes with a decreased attack and a decreased defense and a debuff spread. So when you combine these together, that's our damage for Hydra. How else can we get damage into Hydra? Well, we don't have the right gear set on our wonderful, wonderful friend here. Um, he is chilling in sort of a mishmash of stuff. This will eventually be reflex. I was just trying to get the highest accuracy humanly possible. Wow, that's a waste of an impulse. I need to get a second impulse on attack. Maybe I'll just throw a second impulse here, and then we can be good to go, because that is a 12% chance of random skill cooldown. We turn off the A2 for this, and we just want the fire as much as possible. And as long as we get the fire as much as possible, Geomancer is like freaking next to impossible to kill, and we next to impossible to kill and deals a crazy amount of damage. That's another one of our damage dealers. That's two damage dealers. Whisper, if we've got decreased defense, and weaken. Whisper has an extra turn attack. Right? Attacks one enemy 2 times, gets an extra turn, attacks again. Attacks one enemy with a 50% increase attack and a 30% increase crit rate for 2 turns. And they're always going to have higher max HP. And then ignores defense if the target's under weaken. Comes with our own weaken, as does the Geomancer. As Geomancer gives weaken, we have our wonderful friend Newt, who also provides a weaken. Newt is completely nasty here. Weaken on the A2 along with a decreased attack, and then the max HP damage. Great to see. And then the A1 weaken, just lovely damage. 10% chance of an extra turn whenever champion lands a critical hit. Every hit is critical. Increases damage on bosses by 20%. You love it. I gotta put a relic on you. I think you didn't know I didn't have a relic on you. Okay. And then we have just Impulse. Relentless. Let's get as many extra turns as possible, friends. Sometimes she just takes like 6 turns in a row and wrecks people for damage. As far as damage goes, that's sort of my main goodies. I could really use one more big damage dealer. This is great, really great damage dealer, not amazingly great for Hydra, but you love to see it. Sometimes just dodges everything and kills. Um, this is the other thing the assassins can do when they get enough damage really going. I'm again sort of short, not like short, but like I'm not as crazy on damage as I'd like to be. A lot of the time right now, I have like 3 good damage dealers. I'm still working on that. We can use our Xenomorph for damage, particularly good because Xenomorph synergizes amazingly with Ezio. Ezio blows up all the poisons. If we can go Xenomorph into Mikey into Ezio, we're really cooking. Xenomorph to put like 6 poisons, right? Then we use Mikey for the debuff spread. Then we use Ezio for the blow 'em up. But now we're taking 3 spots on one team for that one little combo, and we have to manual that because that's like impossible to set up unless you're better at speed tuning than I am. Shredder is okay because Shredder has 2 group attacks. I've got Shredder with bunch of destroy gear. I can potentially, I haven't decided yet. I could potentially change Shredder's gear from Zeal, which is some nice extra crit damage, which has been great for him. But I can also change Shredder for. You can also run provoke here on someone. I never remember to do that. But we have. I'll find it. I'll find it. Do I not have any? Fatal, Frostbite. There's whichever gear places Hex, and now I can't remember what it is. What gear places Hex? Righteous, Zeal, Impulse. Do I have Impulse? I have a whole ton of Impulse that I never use. Impulse is really good. I need to just start sticking Impulse as my 2 on everything. I don't have any Bolster, which sucks, but whatever. Instinct, I have a decent amount. Instinct is really good, by the way. Speed and Ignore Defense, 20%, great. I need to finish. I need Protection. I don't have any. 9-piece Protection is like the key, and I don't have any Protection relics, and I need them. Which is the one I'm thinking of? Whatever. One of the gears that's name now escapes me gives me Hex, and maybe I'll stick that on Shredder as an extra damage dealer, as an extra way to get through all this stuff. But for now, I'm planning on just using the assassins. They synergize enough together that, like, especially once I get the last assassin, the best assassin Bayek, I don't think Edward's actually good or important. I should be able to just run a big assassin team and do a ton of damage that way. The last great champion I'm going to talk about is my last Hexer for Hydra. It's the Hatter, who I got extremely lucky and pulled. a lovely debuff spread, um, and does it to anyone with Hex. And then we have the Hex and Weaken for 2 turns, another Weaken champion, by the way. And then we get a team attack for the ally with the highest crit damage, and to use them with the Leo and the Turtles team. Increased duration of all buffs on all allies, and decreased duration of all debuffs on all allies. Love it. With a turn meter fill. And then every 10 turns, just a casual heal. And then every yeah, that's it, right? We do True Fear too, but that doesn't do shit to the Hydra. But again, what the first thing you need to build for Hydra once you really get going is you want your champions that can survive and provoke. If you don't have that provoke, your run is over. If you can stop the provoke, if you can wreck the provoke head, you're gonna win. You want provokes like Stratego Sislin. You want provokes like our good friend the Seeker. And then you want provokes like our final friend who needs to finish being built. Fair. Oopsie, where'd you go? We need Scaramus. Once we have these different provokers, we're able to survive against the Hydra and deal crazy damage and win the game, basically. So that's what we're looking to do for these champs, for these people. Enjoy. Hopefully you get some of these champs. Hopefully you get at least the epics of Scramus and Seeker. That's why they're so useful. You're gonna need them, need them. Make no exceptions for Hydra. You need them. You need the block debuffs champions. Again, I hope you get these key pieces because we want the game changer of Mithrala Lifebane, and we just need him to get there. Strategos Islin is, and like even better if they have an extra use. And Strategos Islin is so hard to kill. Sometimes I'll just throw him against like a Bommel. Like he and Shredder against a Bommel are just enough to beat it, right? Not Bommel. Again, the Crab, the Scarab King, are just enough to beat it because he's going to keep healing and Shredder's going to destroy defense, and then we're going to do enough damage and we're going to slow down the speed with this, and then we're just good enough to win. It's all nasty. It works absurdly well together, and you're going to win a lot of games in Raid Shadow Legends that way. The more different places you can use these, the better, but Hydra is key, and these are the key roles. You want, again, provoke, absolutely. Block buffs on the heads, yeah. You need that. And then you need speed lead, and the veil is helpful. You need a speed lead and some damage. So if you can get those pieces in order, you're gonna cook that Hydra. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon. Peace.